So I just got finished butchering the last of the chickens that we have for this season. So I did 5. I got 5 chickens here. We got rid of a couple of the older chickens that aren't producing eggs anymore. I mean, I was surprised, but we already had one. She just laid around. She didn't do anything. So that's 3 incubated and 2 full size. So that'll be the last that we have to butcher this season. And then tomorrow I'll can that. I'll pressure can that. And of course I won't show the butchering and I won't show the canning. But if you do want to see me canning chicken or anything, pork, hamburger, bacon, I have videos on that. Just go to my channel, hit playlist. Down there you'll see canning. I also use Tattler lids. So there's a couple videos in there where I just use Tattler lids. I recommend Tattler lids because they're reusable. They're a little bit more expensive, obviously, but you can use them up to 10 times or 10 years, whichever. The box says 10 years. YouTube says 10 times. So if you want to learn how to use Tattler, there's a little bit of a trick to using Tattler lids, but they're really not any worse off using than regular lids. I really like them. Now that I know that I had a bad one that I kept putting back in the rotation, a bad ring. What it is, it's 2-piece set. Like I said, go to my channel, but it's 2-piece set. You get a plastic lid and a little O-ring. Not O-ring, but a gasket. And that gasket can wear out after 10 uses. Several things I want to talk about today, and I'm not even really sure if there's going to be any organization to this video, but there's a lot of things that have come to my attention. I've talked to you before about Tennessee and Missouri being the best places to live off-grid in a tiny house, and I want to make a correction to that. Missouri, I don't think has any restrictions on tiny houses. When I say tiny houses, there is this movement going on where people buy these Home Depot sheds. As a matter of fact, just down the road from us, maybe 3 miles, there's a little trailer park. And it's not very big. I mean, it has like maybe 6 or 7 trailers. But one of the places they have there is a Home Depot shed. It's one of the bigger ones. I would say it's probably a $10,000 Home Depot shed, and they put it on bricks. And then just down the road from us where I got firewood not too long ago, there's another one just out in the yard. Now I built this. This isn't a Home Depot shed. I mean, you could call it a shed, a lot of people do, but it's on a trailer frame. I know that makes a little bit of a difference because I had the code inspector here. I got turned in by a viewer for dumping my waste into the creek down there. I wasn't, so they called the county commissioner, and yes, every county has commissioners, so don't say, oh, you don't live off grid, you got a county code inspector. Every county in the world has them. So he comes out, and of course I proved to him that I wasn't doing anything illegal. And at the time, I just had the floor on the trailer frame. This used to be a mobile home trailer frame. And I was building it under 200 square feet because code says you can do that without having a permit. Well, when he saw it, he said, hey, that's a great idea. You're building it on a trailer frame. Nobody's going to ask you any questions then, as long as you can see the tongue, because it's on a trailer frame. He says, it's like remodeling your trailer. So I went with that. Only thing that's not on the trailer frame is the porch roof. I just used concrete in a bucket, poured concrete in a bucket. So all I really got to do is just cut the buckets off. I can lift that porch roof off, and I can literally just move this out, put it on wheels, move it out. It has the frame for the wheels. I just got to get wheels for it. To me, this is more like a tiny house. You could move it. I will never move it, but you could move it. So you can buy tiny houses, and they can get pretty expensive. This was $5,000. And I'm telling you, I feel like it's really well built. I use 2x6s in the walls, so I can get more insulation in it. The Home Depot sheds, they use 2x4s, and they use that OSB board for the walls. I used OSB as well, but then I also used the metal roofing material for my siding, and I gave it a lot of strength. If you can build something on your own, it's really a good idea. But I've been telling everybody to go out and buy these Home Depot sheds. Get yourself a piece of property, a Home Depot shed, and go to Tennessee or Missouri, and you can do it. Now, the reason I thought you could do it in Tennessee is I've watched a YouTube channel. He doesn't make videos anymore, but I used to watch this YouTube channel, and he had a Home Depot shed on his property. He lived in, had a wood stove in it, him and his wife, and I think his son for a while, and then his son moved out. But I just read it is illegal to live in a shed, a portable shed, in Tennessee, and I'm going to read it to you. So this is www.10tn.gov. News. It says it's against state law to modify ready removable structures for use as residential recreational, or emergency housing in Tennessee. Building codes are necessary life-saving measures. Ready removable structures do not pass code for sleeping spaces. Take it for what it's worth. It comes right from the government's own webpage. So I was a little bit taken back by that because Tennessee seems like a pretty relaxed state. The thing that amazes me is I've lived in Missouri all my life, and then we moved away from it. I've moved away and come back, move away. I always thought Missouri was a pretty restrictive state. I always thought that. But for most of my life, I lived on the east side of Missouri, just south of St. Louis. And I guess it is very restrictive over there in that area. But when you come out to the center and the south part of the Missouri, it is a lot less restrictive. Some of the things you see around here, people living in RVs. There's an RV down the road, not too far from here, that's been there longer than what we've been here. And I always thought, well, maybe it's a temporary structure or something. Nope. There is a really nice house down the road, and I guess his children or somebody, they're living in an RV on the property. They've been living there maybe about a year now. I couldn't find anything on Missouri whether it was illegal to actually live in a shed. Whereas when I asked about Tennessee, it was the second thing that popped up on Google. So my guess is it's not illegal. Of course, all the website says it's not recommended. But in today's society, we're getting to a point where you can't afford housing anymore. And realtors are just jumping all over my case when I say you can't afford housing. I keep saying, sell your house, because if a depression hits, you're not going to be able to afford your mortgage. Well, this real estate agent told me, oh, that's not true. You don't have to pay on your house. If the economy crashes, well, then why did so many people lose their homes in 2008 when the housing crisis happened? You know, what are you talking about? Of course they're going to come get your house. They are not going to go broke because you can't afford it. So what I suggest is sell your house, especially if you're watching this channel, living in a tiny house, off-grid. Take whatever equity you got and buy yourself a shed, or if you can, build yourself a little tiny house on a trailer frame. I recommend doing it on a trailer frame because the guy specifically said, oh, you're building it on a trailer frame. That's good because it's like remodeling your trailer. I mean, this was a mobile home. Of course, it was falling down, but it was a mobile home. There's still some remnants, maybe so you understand what I'm talking about. We were going to build a little flower garden off the back of this. May still do it. I just haven't gotten around to it. So this is the trailer frame here. You can buy them, these mobile home trailer frames, if you can't find one. That was what was so nice about this property, was it had the mobile home on it. All they had to do is tear it apart. And there's several of them up down the road here have mobile homes on them and they're falling apart. Everything's getting more restrictive. I just told you the other day, the USDA came out to a place that we go to buy our chickens. She's just a little family-owned operation. And they came out and really hammered her because somebody turned her in on Facebook. What it was is this group of activists didn't like the idea that she was selling chickens. So they really came after her on Facebook. Facebook started taking down her posts in these Facebook groups. So they started taking that and kicking her out of those. Well, she had to make a statement on her Facebook page that if you have any problems with her chickens, just come back and she'll take care of the problem. But it all but shut her down nearly. And she's just a little farm, not even very big, doesn't make much money, just a modest house, modest place, but has all kinds of neat stuff, ducks and chickens and goats. I think she had some donkeys and pigs. It's just real nice family. The problem I have with all this is, what difference does it make if you want to live in a shed? I get people in my comment section all the time that says the government has to watch out so your stupidity doesn't end up getting you hurt. So what they're saying is, I'm too stupid to take care of myself, so I need the government to take care of me. I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me. If I'm too stupid to take care of myself, then why is the government better at doing it? Seriously, think about this. If you like the guy that's in office, maybe then that guy can take care of me. But what happens when he gets kicked out? Now the guy you have in office can't take care of me. Why are we relying on a person that you don't like in office? What can the government do that takes care of me better than I can take care of me? Government comes out, tells me I have to build this house to a certain square footage, okay? because I'm not smart enough, so I have to build it to 400 square feet in order to live in it. Okay, so I built it 400 square feet. What safety measures did that take into account? There was nothing safety-wise about the 400 square feet. No. When government gets involved, for all these people want to tell me that government is trying to keep me safe from myself, when government gets involved, they get involved with payoffs. So some bank went and paid off, some politician said, hey, make the houses a minimum of 400 square feet, so when people come and get a loan, it's worth my while to give these people a loan, and maybe they'll default on it, and then I can sell it again and again. But I can't give a loan to a $5,000 house. So let's make it bigger, and it's got to have a toilet, and it's got to have a shower, it's got to have electric, it's got to have all these things in it. That way we can run up the cost of that house. I want to make money, but I don't need that big of a house. So why am I buying a house that I can't afford? Why am I having to go and enslave myself 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week to live in a big house that I don't need? I can't live in it. I mean, last house I lived in, it was on 8 acres, it was rent, it was beautiful, I loved that place. But I was never home, I was always at work. This is something that I can achieve. This is my American dream. Yet the government tells me I can't have it because it doesn't line the pockets of the bankers or the politicians. So you cannot convince me that politicians and government are building houses and putting regulations in place to make my house safer. It is not. If the house burns down from an electrical fire that the government inspected, they came out while it was being built, they approved all the stuff that went into it, and it catches on fire from an electrical short, do I get to sue the government? And every one of you that tell me that the government makes it safer will say, well, of course not. It's not their fault that it burned down. Defective product, whatever. Then why are they putting safety protocols in place if they're not going to be held responsible? They don't want to be held responsible because they're not actually making anything safer. Oh, well, you got to have a house that's hurricane proof. Then what I'll do is I'll call a contractor and I say, hey, I want a house that's hurricane proof. And then my insurance company will come out and say, well, you didn't put hurricane clips up there on your rafters. You'll have to redo that. So the contractor is now being regulated by my insurance company, my spokesperson, someone who is looking out for me. The government isn't looking out for me. They're looking out for themselves. They want to stay in power. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to the video where I was talking about wood stoves. So I hope I can inspire you to become independent. You can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.